All right, so I created like a little piece of content for Alexa where I was like, okay, what are the 4 questions that you can ask to get, because you and I use different words, but I think we're saying the same thing.
Yeah.
So I call them invisible beliefs.
Beautiful.
So everybody has invisible beliefs and they're totally fucking with you.
Yeah, I call it noise. Yeah.
So they're controlling your life.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way to get them to stop controlling your life is actually figure out what they are. And so I gave 4 questions that 2 of them I just straight stole from Albert Einstein.
What are they?
And it's the most important decision every person will make in their life is whether they live in a friendly or a hostile universe. Mm-hmm. So just make it a question, right? Do you live in a friendly or a hostile universe? Mm-hmm. And so the point, and I'll go through all 4, but the point was that if you ask these 4 questions, and they're just the tip of the iceberg, but if you ask these 4 questions, you're going to begin to identify your frame of reference. Basically just trying to get people to frame themselves as either optimistic or pessimistic, which I think is sort of the big ham-handed like first thing you need to become aware of. So first, do you live in a hostile or friendly universe? Another Einstein one. Is everything a miracle or is nothing a miracle, right? Because you get to choose.
Absolutely.
So neither one of those is objectively real, but you pick and it's really going to color how you see
I love it. Yeah.
And then number 3, can you do anything you set your mind to without limitation, or are there certain things you can't comprehend? And then number 4, I'm forgetting right now, so I won't waste time because you get the...
Yeah, I get it. I love them. They're brilliant. Brilliant questions.
So what, like, they're woefully incomplete. So what could we add to that that would really bring this home for people? So if that gets them optimistic, pessimistic, what other, at a really high level,
yeah, sure,
what are other things that people could immediately switch, or in fact would immediately switch if they change, the people that they're hanging around? But like, let's really get real about what some of those things are. So optimism, pessimism, what else?
So for me, there was 2 questions that I had to ask myself that really changed what I do. One of my big questions is, what advice would I give to my younger self? It's huge, because I think that's the stuff that we regret. That's the stuff that we wish we were doing. That's the stuff that has been lost in the noise. When you ask someone, what advice would you give to your younger self? The number 1 answer is, I wish I studied this. I wish I tried this out. I wish I gave this a go. Those are all
things that somebody didn't do?
Yeah, it's all things people didn't do. It's always like something that either should have started or didn't continue. And that's really tapping into someone's voice, right? That's really tapping into what someone really wants to do. And you're going way beyond just like, oh, what do you like? What are you passionate about? So hard to answer that sometimes, especially if you're drowning. Does that add to your questions or not?
No, it's really interesting, but now I need to know what your answer was.
So I used to do a lot of spoken word when I grew up. I read the dictionary, I read the thesaurus, I loved language. That's what I was fascinated by. And for some reason I gave it up. Then I found out about monk life, became a monk. And then almost back 10 years on at 28, I asked myself that question, and my answer was, I miss words. I miss expressiveness. I miss sharing a message and stories through incredible language and ideas, potential rhymes, but flow and all of these things. So that was the answer to my question. One of the biggest answers was, I wish I never stopped writing.
When did you ask that question?
I was actually 28. So 2 years ago.
2 years ago?
Yeah.
Here's the thing, man. I will tell you right now that your content is like the modern version of spoken word. So I don't know if that's on purpose or an accident, but like...
It was an accident.
Watching it, I was like, fuck. Like, if he is doing this off the cuff, I have to hate myself a little.
Yeah.
And if he's writing it down, he performs it so well that it feels off the cuff. But
the answer's both.
Very impressive.
Thank you, man. You're so kind. I'm genuinely touched coming from you.
No, here's the thing. Like, look, and I love giving compliments when they're real, but more importantly, you compliment the thing that you want to reinforce in somebody. So you've got a mission, I find it very interesting, which is, can we make knowledge, my word, I don't remember what word you used.
Wisdom.
Wisdom, perfect. So can we make wisdom spread as far and as fast as entertainment, which is so similar to what I'm trying to change people's beliefs through entertainment. So I recognized a kindred soul right away. And then just watching the content, I'm like, whoa, like I'm not surprised the number of views that you've gotten, because songs work because they make you feel an emotion, but they also tap into whatever it is about humans, whatever it is that we convey through rhythm. So and before the cameras were rolling, we were talking about it. So the one thing that makes me very uncomfortable, I do this thing called impact quotes. And impact quotes is the first time where I allowed myself to perform, where I'm knowingly, I would not say it like this if you and I were standing next to each other, right? This is for the camera. I know how it's going to be edited. I know we're going to add music to it. So it is a performance. But it's also some of our best performing content. So it's like what you were saying earlier about, look, I just accept that not everybody geeks out on neuroscience. And so I have to understand like who my audience is and give them something in a way that will then resonate and go viral.
Absolutely.
And so I think acknowledging that's really interesting. So anyway, I'm responding just to what you were saying about that because your life seems to be an echo of that answer. All right, so there's a few more things I have to get to.
Go for it. I'm here. I'm loving this. And if you're loving it, that's even better.
Yeah, 100%. So there are 3 questions that you get asked a lot. What are they?
Ooh, the big one is, how do I find my passion?
Okay, and you can tell me I need you to answer each one of them.
Yeah.
But if you want to run through what each of the questions are, and then we'll go back. Or...
Sure. Yeah, no, I'll just do them as they are.
Perfect.
So how do I find my passion? My simple model, which is the Dharma model. Dharma means eternal duty in the Vedic tradition. It's very similar to what Ikigai is being spoken about today, which is the Japanese version of reason for being. Why do we live? Where is meaning coming from? And it talks about an intersect of 4 areas. What am I good at? What do I love? What does the world need? And how do I get paid for it? To me, those 4 help you unlock your passion. When you find the intersect across all of those 4, you're making your passion your purpose. You'll unlock your passion, you'll find your purpose. This is path 1. There's 2 paths. Path 1, I find my skill set and I engage it to help other people and become better at it. So I'm becoming better at what I'm good at and I'm using it to help other people because I'm aware of what I'm quite good at and I know what knowledge I have, what skills I have. I have some self-awareness. The other path that people often miss is actually I just start serving people. I just start helping people and I start to notice what I enjoy about that and what I'm good at helping people with. So that's Gandhi's part. Gandhi said that you find yourself when you lose yourself in the service of others. So for me, those are the 2 paths of how do I find my passion. And finding the intersect between those 4 areas.
Love that.
And the second one is, Jay, my relationship's falling apart. I get asked that all the time. So the answer to that is much harder. It's harder to summarize it, but I always start with self-actualization, that the problem is we have a list for the one that we want, and we don't have a list for what we need to become. And I don't mean become to attract, I mean become to just be. To just get to understand yourself. You don't know what you need in your life until you figure out who you are. And so I find too many people rush into relationships without really recognizing and being fully aware of what they need from a relationship. So it all comes back to how aware are you? How much understanding do you have of yourself and what you need and what you want? That's my best advice for a relationship in like a minute. And then the third question I mostly get asked is, Jay, what do you read? Like, what are your favorite books? Because it seems you read a lot. What are your top 3 books? They're not groundbreaking in the sense that people may not be like, oh my God, that's the best book I've ever read. For me, they changed my life. So that's where I'm coming at a point from. I love Start With Why by Simon Sinek. And not because I applied it to businesses, because I applied it to my life. And even today, I'm constantly refining my why. That's all I do every day. My deepest morning routine and practice is to refine why I do what I do. It's so easy for me to now do it for money. It's so easy for me to now do it for followers. It's so easy for me to now do it for fame. And every day I have to refine that because I know, having lived as a monk and what I practice, that if those become what I want, then I'll forget who I need to be. So my daily practice and my daily routine is refining my intention, which in modern language is why. So for me, Simon's book helped me do that. The Bhagavad Gita, which I would love to do for Vedic knowledge, what Ryan's done for Stoicism. And the Bhagavad Gita, over 5,000 years old. And that book really exemplifies human challenge. Third book, I'd say, this one's gonna be hard because it's the last one. Let me think. I'm gonna try throw something else in there. So I've done one like self-development, one more spiritual enlightenment. Let me throw a business book in, seeing as I'm sure you have a lot of business viewers. I love the book Exponential Organizations. I don't know if you read it. It's by Salim Ismail and the Singularity University. And that book for me, is an incredible analysis of the success of all the organizations we see ruling our phone today. The way it breaks down their business models and how they were created, to me, it's fascinating. So if anyone really wants to start up a exponential business today, then that's where they have to go. And that's when Peter Diamandis said that if you want to be a billionaire, redefining it as someone who impacts the lives of 1 billion people. And that's what that business book is really about, is how do you create an exponential organization that positively impacts 1 billion people. So those are my 3 for today.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.